seed. There you go. Okay. Are we doing it?
I guess we're doing it. I'll start.
Sure.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to Austin Homestead. We have a lot of new subscribers here recently, which is super exciting, and thank you guys for following along. We're super excited about that. And so if you don't know, we'll just introduce ourselves. My name is Anna.
And my name is Mark. And so just kind of a brief snapshot of who we are and where we're going here is we have a small farm. It's small acreage, about 3 acres here in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've started a couple years ago.
7 years ago.
There you go, 7 years ago. And here in the next week or two, we're actually going to be moving. So we bought a larger farm in Tennessee. It's a 53-acre farm that's currently running cattle. So many things are going to be changing in our lives, and that's for the best. So in this video, we thought we would give you the why. What are we doing? Why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah. You know, it's an odd thing. We're a young family. We have 4 children, ages 13, 12, almost 11, and almost 8 next month. So we also live on his grandparents' property, who they've both passed on, but we bought it from them before they passed. And it's kind of an odd thing for a young couple like this who's super established. We've been married 15 years. We've grown up here in Oregon. And it's kind of odd for us to just sell all of it and move away from family and give up all of this to go and homestead and to farm. And so, we really just wanted to kind of give you more backstory. Like, why are we doing this? Why would a family like us give up all of it to go and pursue farming? So,
well, and keep in mind, this is not like a spur of the moment type thing. This has been 4 years in the making.
For sure.
So this was not a decision that we just woke up and decided, hey, let's move to Tennessee and start a farm. But that seed of a dream, I suppose, was planted 4 years ago. 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
That's my Irish coming out.
Almost.
Yeah. Never mind. So 4 years ago is where this all started, and it's been like taking baby steps in that direction because we are very established here. We have both of our families are here. Mm-hmm. Like she said, we're living on family property, so there's a lot of ties here, and so we're kind of swimming upstream, if you will. But thankfully, our family has been very supportive in this move. So that's been much appreciated. So just keep that in mind. This is 4 years in the making.
Yeah, although I would say that it's even longer than that because for you, farming has been kind of just in you. I mean, it's like who you are kind of thing ever since you were a kid, you know?
This is true. The farming is not 4 years in the making. The moving to Tennessee is 4 years in the making. So the agriculture and farming has always been, whatever you want to say, just an interest of mine and something that I've gravitated towards. You could say it was a God-given interest, and I think it was. You know, growing up, my grandfather was very influential in my life, and he wasn't a farmer, but he did have, it was like a hobby farm, you know. So he was a carpenter by trade, but he had a hobby farm. So growing up around him and spending time with him made a huge impact. In fact, moving into high school years and even after high school, I worked on a farm. And here in Oregon, grass seed is huge. It's a big industry. So I worked on a grass seed farm for a couple of years. And
that's where I met him.
Yeah.
Well, not at the farm, but
in that time frame.
In that time frame.
So anyway, you know, it's funny. I remember growing up and that being a dream of having my own farm and being asked, you know, what is wealth to you? You know, what is whatever you want to say, success. Yeah. And it'd be like, I remember answering, I don't remember who brought it up. Maybe it was a friend or family or something like that, but it success would be like sitting on your porch or whatever and looking at all of the land and everything, and it's like, man, wow, that's mine. And then even in my youth group at the church group, we were talking about heaven and things that we wanted to do in heaven. And it sounds funny. So this is like maybe early middle school years, so keep that in mind. But it was like, man, if I don't get to farm here on earth, I would love to have a farm in heaven. And so, so anyway, whatever. That's what it is. So farming has always just been something that I've gravitated towards. But, and this is where it gets a little bit more serious, but I never really believed that I could be successful. Growing up, especially working on the grass seed farm, it's a huge industry, like I said, and it takes millions of dollars in equipment and land, and it's huge, it's big, this is big stuff. And so for me, the little guy, having a love for farming, starting my own farm was like, yeah, dream on, buddy. Nobody does that. So I never really believed that I could be successful on a farm. So I just never did. I worked, after I left the farm, I went to the John Deere dealership and I worked on tractors. And so I've always been in that industry, except for now I'm in construction, but I've been in and around agriculture.
Come this way just a little.
Oh,
thank you.
Am I like?
You're like, you keep drifting off to the side. Thank you. There you go.
Let's see. So
you've always been in agriculture.
Yeah, I've always been in and around agriculture. But this mindset of nobody, you can't start a farm just from scratch if you're not born into it and if you don't have money. The old adage of how do you make $1 million farming? It's starting with a couple of $1 million, So that paradigm, that idea comes from industrial farming. And that is something that I recognize now. And that's something that I don't really have a passion for. I'm not interested in commercial or industrial farming where we're, supplying things to the masses, the grass seeds and the meats and the produce. That's not my idea of farming. And, at the time I never really thought about that. And even if you were to think about that, thinking of it in that paradigm of just, that negative of you can't be successful and do that. So I just never did. I left it alone. And fast forwarding quite a bit, the last couple of years for me, just having more of a realization of like, oh my gosh, our food system is really broken and very corrupt. And this is something that's been going on for decades, but my awareness of it has only been the last couple of years. And that's why we started doing stuff around here with our chickens and the gardens and, trying to become a little bit more self-sufficient that way. But when you get into the world of like industrial farming, money is king and money is what's driving all of this. Yeah. And then what's really disgusting is, the government and large business having ties together. And then looking at, like the U.S. grain production with wheat and corn, and just that's also a very big industry. And they're producing all of this corn at a loss, so the farmers are actually losing money on it, but they're making money on the subsidies from the government. And then the government, I don't want to get off, too far here, but if you look at the ingredients on the back of a lot of produce or stuff at the store, a lot of it derives from corn and the starches and the things that come out of corn. Even our fuel, our gas, the ethanol, that's corn-based. So this corn and even wheat is the same way, is heavily subsidized. And that's where these farmers are making their money. So,
and there's a lot of different facets with that, just a lot of different avenues that you can go down. And I mean, each individual thing is like, whoa, if you trace it back, it just leads to so much money and corruption. And so, and that's just in a lot of different veins of the whole industry. So,
It's true. It's true. And then that grain production moves over into the meat world because grain-fed animals are a whole lot cheaper to feed and make fat on grain, government subsidized grain, than it is grass. You need a whole lot more acreage to fatten up a cow on grass than you do on corn or whatever. And so producing cheap food as fast as possible at a shelf stable condition, that is our current food system. And it's broken. It is totally broken. And personally speaking, you know, you'll have to look into it yourselves, but personally speaking, that's where I think a lot of our food allergies and our illnesses, chronic illnesses, are coming from, is all of these genetically modified foods
food-like
and grains,
substances, because a lot of it isn't even real food. Our bodies can't even recognize the things that we're putting into it these days, because the majority of them, they're not even real. They're not natural whole foods. And so just recognizing that and just diving deeper into understanding all of this the past handful of years has been really eye-opening for us. And we just want to do better. We want to do better than that. We want our kids to live better than that. And so, and that goes along with one thing I was thinking. I wrote down some thoughts because I just had so many of like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? But one of the things that goes along with that is the food industry. We've sanitized it. We have organized it and sanitized it, and we want all of our apples to be the same size, the same color, the same flavor, all across the board. When we walk into a store, we want to have every option available every season of the year, and we want it to all look exactly the same, be exactly the same size, same color, same flavor every single time. And natural foods aren't that way. They're not like that. And I want to show you, I made a visual for you because I just feel like this is such a powerful visual. So just a second, I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, so I did this. I took a couple branches off of a tree out here, or a bush, and I did this. If you look at this, it looks organized, doesn't it? We have all the same sizes, same shapes, you know, they're all organized together. You can find exactly what you want in the shape that you want, the size that you want. And it looks organized, right? But if you think about it, this is not natural. This is not normal. This is not how it's meant to be. Real plants, they have seasons and a growth cycle and a life cycle, and they're kind of imperfections. They go in different directions, and when you put them all together, it makes a healthy, normal plant and a beautiful plant to look at, and it's good. But when man gets involved and tries to organize it, it becomes utter chaos. This is utter chaos in the natural world. What is this? You know, it's like a bed from IKEA or something. Like, you have to put it all together. But the point is that this is not normal. This is not natural. And this is what we have in our stores. This is what we're used to seeing, and what we're used to eating is something along this lines, when really it was meant to be along these lines. And so I hope that helps. It's a good visual that I've shown my kids, and just feel that it's really powerful. This is normal. This is organized. This is natural and healthy and good. This is chaos. That's not normal. So that was that's the visual that I had, that I think it's really powerful and has worked well for me to visualize it, and for the kids and stuff. So I hope that made sense, and I'm sure the analogy falls apart somewhere, but you know, to me that just helped understand the whole thing. So yeah, seeing that in our food industry and understanding what's actually normal and good has just really caused me to pause and step back and be like, how can I how can I be part of the solution and not part of the problem? Which goes into another thing of our why is our culture. Well, I wrote it down this way. I don't want to be just another product of our culture. And our culture is so driven by consumerism. We just take and we take and we take and we get what we want, and we never produce anything, and we never are giving back to our culture in a healthy way. And so, and I'm speaking in generalized terms, of course, not everybody's like that, and not everything is doing everything bad. So generally speaking, our culture is going in a direction, and has been for quite some time, that if we keep going that way, we're going to eat ourselves up. We're just so consumer driven. And I want to go in the opposite direction. I want to provide good and healthy things. I don't want to take from culture. I want to be a resource for culture. And I want to go in that direction, the opposite direction of what is generally normal, which ties into another thing I wrote down, if you don't mind me talking for another minute. But another thing is our culture has normalized so many things that are not normal, like being so busy that you don't have time to sit down and have a family meal, or being so busy that you don't have time to sit and read a book or take a walk, and settle down. We don't have time for Sabbath anymore. These things our culture has normalized, but we know from the Word of God that these things are not how we're meant to be. That's not how we're meant to live. And so another thing is debt. Debt is very normal in our society. People are in debt above their heads. I mean, they're drowning in debt, and they think that it's normal. So we want to push back against that and model a way that's different than what's normal. Another thing is, where did I write that? The American diet and stewardship of the earth. We're so used to tearing things up and concreting things and skyscraper buildings, and we've lost touch with how to tend the earth and how to care for it. I think of the garden and the beginning, what God's intention for man was, and it was to tend the earth and the animals. And our culture has gone so far away from that. We've disconnected our food. We don't even know where our food comes from. We've disconnected the earth and the food from how we live, when they were meant to be intertwined. And it's a very intimate and intentional thing to till the earth and tend the animals and make food, real food, and to share it with your family and friends. That's normal and that's healthy, and we've gotten so far away from that it's time someone stands up and says, hey, I don't want that anymore. I want to go this direction. So those are some of the whys for me of why we are selling everything, moving from family, and pursuing this lifestyle of farming and homesteading. So.
Yep. I don't know what to say after that. What am I supposed to say?
Well, we could say why Tennessee, because we could farm in Oregon. Why aren't we farming in Oregon? And a lot of that has to do with my dream of being a singer, songwriter in the music industry. And that's a whole other world, whole other topic that we could talk about. But my dream, since I was a little girl, and I didn't even know it at the time, but when I was young, I used to write lyrics that I would hear from songs, and I would sit and write them out, and I would make music. And my passion, my innermost being is meant to make music, and I know it on every level of myself. Although I've being a or having been a teenage mother. We got married when we were 18. I was 3 months pregnant, and it was super unexpected. And anyway, we just were thrown into life, motherhood, marriage, and children and family super quickly. And just growing up, having to have that kind of responsibility and wanting to honor God through all of that, I decided long time ago that I would never be the one to uproot our family so I could pursue my dreams. I never, ever wanted to live a selfish life like that. And so I've constantly and consistently kept it in me because it's who I am, but I've also set it down so I can pursue what's good and what this season holds for me. But in my life and as we've raised our family, I've continued to hone my craft and understand who I am and what I'm meant to do. And going along with Mark's dream of, farming and that kind of stuff from when he was young, I have that same kind of passion and desire for music. And so Tennessee, I have flown back and forth to Tennessee several times just for writing stuff and for conferences and that kind of thing, and have finally I feel like I've gotten my feet in, and I've got a community and that kind of stuff. And so it made sense that if we're going to pursue Mark's dream and we're going to pursue my dream and both of us can do it together, where would that be? And it was Tennessee. So maybe you could speak to that too, because...
Well, just this farm that we bought would just be the marriage, if you will, of these two dreams. Mm-hmm. So, and how that actually fleshes out and what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, we don't know yet. Yeah. Don't know, and I don't really need to know. That we're just going to be doing this thing. We're moving in that direction, and we're going to be building on to this foundation of relocation and life change and all of these things. So anyway, that is kind of a backdrop of what's going on behind the scenes, why Tennessee, why farming, and then music. Maybe you can expand on that, maybe even on a separate video. I don't know. That's kind of like a whole separate.
It's all still unfolding. It's all such a process, and I've fallen in love with the process and timing. We can't rush things and we can't push things back, and the timing is just so important. So maybe at a later date, just talking more about the music stuff, because it's still unfolding and all of that. I was just thinking something. Let me see if I remember.
Wait for it.
Oh, why YouTube? That's what I was thinking. So I've seen a couple comments just of people saying like, hey, here's how to get more subscribers. You need to give them something. Like, people are thinking when they come to your channel, what do I get from this? And I think that's a great question to ask, and something that we've asked ourselves too. Why are we doing YouTube? Because honestly, social media isn't our first priority. It's not a big deal, and Mark has never even been on, he's never been on Facebook or Instagram or anything. So why YouTube, and what are we here for on this platform? I would just say, well, there's several different reasons, but... Right.
So I don't know what you're going to say, but
go ahead.
But originally the idea, there was two main ideas behind doing YouTube. The first was actually as a favor toward our family here, that if ever they were curious of what's going on with Mark and Anna and what we're up to, they would be able to jump on YouTube and there they would see what's currently going on, or at least within the last week what's going on. So keeping others informed, and then also as a potential source of income. And I know you have to hit certain thresholds before you even get to that point, but you've got to start somewhere, right? Mm. And so those were the two main ideas. I don't know what you were going to say.
Well, my thought was, what are you gaining from this? Because we know that not everybody that's watching is like direct family or friends that are close to us. So what are you gaining, the new subscriber that we don't know, that we haven't met in person, and we don't really just want to keep up with each other? If you go and look at our YouTube channel, you'll see there's a growing number of how-to videos. Mark is extremely mechanical and talented, skilled in a lot of dyeing trades. And so we've been trying to video those things just to give an idea, to help people out with some of those basic mechanical, what's the word? I'm thinking jack of all trades, but
I don't know, mechanical
handyman
skills.
Yeah, handyman
And
stuff.
honestly, a lot of those are because there's things that need to be fixed in here. So you're just getting to see
You
the
get
process.
to see how we do that. Another thing is, I just have this desire to model a different lifestyle than mainstream lifestyle, and I think that's important for people to see that if two of us, we, like I said, teenage parents, we've been flat out broke. We've worked our butts off to live in a budget and pay off all of our debt and be entirely debt free, and all these different things. And homeschooling, we homeschool. I just want to show you that, not that I'm cool or anything, but you don't have to be, like a stereotypical denim jumper, odd farmer person. Not that we're not odd, but you don't have to be so strange and so disconnected from reality that you can't pursue and live a different, a healthier life. And so I hope that we can just model that in what we're doing. Of course, I'm still learning and growing as it comes to, when it comes to gardening and growing food and animals. We have some experience, but not a lot. So as we grow and learn, I hope we can share that information and that knowledge with you also, so you'll feel empowered to grow and learn and do it yourself. So that's what I hope you gain from being here. And our friends and our family, like Mark said, we want to stay connected and give you just some views of our life, and so we don't feel so far away. And like Mark also said, we do hope that it can turn into a source of income, because when you have no 9-to-5 job and farming is your work, we need every source of income we can get. So,
and I'm assuming that if you're tuned into this channel, you probably have an interest in these things also. Maybe if, the exception would be family, maybe you're just interested in us. But there is a growing community of homesteaders or farmers or whatever, beginning farmers. There is a growing trend. And so, jumping back a little bit, that's why we're doing this now. The realization of our broken system and this trend of localization, getting your food locally sourced and knowing where it comes from. Those two things coupled mean the better or the most, whatever, the greatest chance of success for a small local farmer. And I expect that those will continue. And in fact, maybe you guys are in the same boat, that you're going to be, another source of that local produce and food. So anyway, that's why now.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good summary of our why. Why is a 33-year-old couple, married 15 years with 4 children, who lives on family property, why are they giving it up and moving 2,500 miles away to be farmers? That's why. That's why we're doing this. So,
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for being back here. And again, hello to all of our new subscribers. Make sure you ring the bell, the little notification thing, so you don't miss any of our updates. Soon we may be jumping back to 2 videos a week. We were doing 2 videos a week, and then everything got super slow and we went down to 1 video a week just on Saturdays. But we may go back to 2 soon, because we're gonna have a lot more content coming up here pretty quickly. Yeah, and be sure to like this video. That is a great way to support us without having to financially give anything or like buy anything or do anything. You can just give us a thumbs up and that would be super helpful. However, if you do feel like this is something that you want to support and you want to be involved, and we would greatly appreciate that because there's a lot of unknowns right now. I am going to link our PayPal in the description, and if you feel like you want to, then that is a great way to help us out because we are just 1 week away from Mark's last day at work, and then we don't have jobs and we're doing this all on good faith that the Lord will provide for us. So if you feel like you're one of those people that the Lord has asked you to help provide, then I'm just gonna link that. And if not, no hard feelings. We are not begging for your money.
If you don't feel led to give, please don't give. We're fine. But if that's something that you feel that you would like to do, then that's great. We would appreciate your help. And it's not necessarily easy asking for financial help because I don't know, maybe I have too much pride or something.
Take a lot of pride in our independence.
Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Yes.
This is getting long.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry that it's so long. I understand you've all got lives. So we're just going to wrap it up right here, right now, and we'll be back next week. Bye.